Coming up, I'm Ty McClung, and I'll tell you about an executive order signed by Governor Patrick Morrisey and how it's affecting institutions just like WVU.
In today's government, money is power. I'm Patrick Walsh, and coming up on WVU News, I'll tell you about the people protesting against the wealthy in government.
I'm James Daly, and I'll take you to the State House where lawmakers and the governor are at odds over a budget deficit. Our Emmy-award winning WVU News starts now.
An executive order signed by West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrisey is forcing government-funded programs across the state to shift their focus from DEI to other work. I'm Jackie Gunther.
And I'm Patrick Walsh. Lawmakers in West Virginia are also reacting to what the governor says will be a budget deficit in the hundreds of millions.
These stories and more coming up on WVU News, an Emmy-award-winning newscast produced by television journalism students right here at West Virginia University.
Governor Patrick Morrisey signed 8 executive orders in his first full day in office last month. They included implementing religious exemptions for school vaccinations and establishing what the governor calls an economic backyard brawl.
Also signed, Patrick, was an executive order that prohibits funding diversity, equity, and inclusion programs with state tax dollars.
Senior correspondent Ty McClung joins us from Studio B at the Media Innovation Center to tell us more about how this specific executive order is impacting organizations across the state. Ty?
Thanks, Patrick. Jackie. Morrisey sent letters to West Virginia cabinet officials urging them to eliminate any diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts in state government. He says he supports the Federal Civil Rights Act that prohibits discrimination, but he believes that DEI programs go too far.
That means starting now, there will be no more DEI.
On his first day as governor, newly elected Patrick Morrisey outlined his vision for eliminating diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives in West Virginia. Morrisey signed an executive order eliminating DEI positions and programs in state-funded organizations. Many lawmakers believe that this effort may be doing more harm than good.
We want all Mountaineers, right, no matter where they go to school, to make sure they feel safe, make sure they feel wanted, and they're getting the proper resources to do what they need to do. Again, DEI is more than what people are paying it to be.
Morrisey believes DEI theories go against existing protections in both the West Virginia and U.S. constitutions. In his executive order, Governor Morrisey states that DEI has led to the adoption of policies and practices that grant preferential treatment to or discriminate against a person based on that individual's race, color, sex, national origin, or ethnicity. But critics say this is not what DEI does. And Democratic members of the legislature are speaking out against the misconceptions.
It has never been and will never be about skipping the line. So let's just make sure that fallacy, that false narrative is put out there, because it's a very dangerous boogeyman.
House Speaker Roger Hanshaw says he's not sure if the issue will come up during the legislative session in the form of a bill.
It's not something he's asked us to do, and at this point, I have no reason to believe that we would.
Public support for DEI initiatives is at 56% nationally. West Virginia is 92% white, and Hornbuckle says DEI policies and programs are beneficial to all West Virginians.
When people are included, again, whether you're from rural West Virginia, whether you're from the northern panhandle, southern coal fields, whether you're from Fairfield and Heights, right, that all of us win.
State departments and universities have 90 days to review their DEI initiatives and send them to the governor's office.
Thanks, Ty. As of this month, 119 bills to curb or dismantle DEI programs at public universities have been introduced in 29 states. Just 12 states, Jackie, have officially passed their legislation.
West Virginia is the only state so far, Patrick, where an executive order has been signed. Shortly after the action, the state's land-grant institution, West Virginia University, reconfigured its DEI office to comply with the order.
Campus and community reporter Dakota Swiger joins us live in the studio to tell us more about how students are reacting to the change on their campus. Dakota?
Thanks, Patrick, Jackie. The WVU Division of Campus Engagement and Compliance has now taken the place of the university's former DEI office. Its purpose is to promote and investigate Title IX issues on campus, or issues of unequal treatment due to gender, and make sure the university is complying with the Americans with Disabilities Act. But some students are protesting these changes, worried the new office doesn't offer enough protection for some student populations.
Y'all means all. No hating our holler.
Christopher Reed is a WVU student and West Virginia resident who organized the Defend Democracy protest on campus this month. Reed says it gave students a chance to voice their opinions on a wave of national issues, including LGBTQ+ erasure, immigration raids, and diversity, equity, and inclusion defunding.
A lot of people feel so powerless, like nothing can be done, but it's not too late, and we do have actions that we can take right now.
The protest came in response to recent executive orders that reorganized WVU's DEI office and programs. Those programs help minority students receive equal opportunities and resources while pursuing a higher education. In 1980, students of color made up just 19% of undergraduate populations. But today, they make up more than half of our college campuses. As funding is cut for these programs, research shows universities could see less diverse incoming classes. But some WVU students feel indifferent to the change.
I don't know a whole lot about it. I think they can help in some situations depending on the person in the class, but my stance isn't too strong either side.
Reed says that amplifying the voices of those most impacted will create a ripple effect.
A single voice willing to stand up and willing to say, hey, I don't like this. That's enough for people to rally around you.
Less than 20% of WVU's current undergraduate student population is not white. In a statement, WVU officials said the shift in focus for the university's former DEI office, quote, positions the office to carry out its core mission and serve all within the university community, end quote.
Thanks, Dakota. While WVU students are protesting changes to DEI programs on campus, off campus, a group of West Virginians joined together to speak out against some changes to government leadership at the national level.
That's right, Jackie. This month, nearly 100 people gathered outside the Mon County Courthouse to protest the growing wealth disparity represented in Washington.
Ashley Montgomery is a West Virginian and a mom who traveled 2 hours to attend the President's Day protest in Morgantown. Her husband is a federal worker in danger of losing his job due to federal cuts.
If we lose his job, which President Trump is now, along with Elon Musk, slashing through the federal government, we're not going to be able to get insurance.
Montgomery was one of about 100 people who attended the Morgantown rally, organized by Voices Ignited. Voices Ignited spokesperson Shay Nestor says it was a way for working people to tell their government how they feel.
We're here to, together, make our voices a lot louder than they are alone, and to show that we're not divided.
Wealth disparity was a central issue for organizers. President Trump's administration is the wealthiest in American history, with 13 billionaires on staff.
For the people here behind me, it's not a matter of left versus right, rather elites versus the working class, depicted in signs like these.
The richest 1% of West Virginians hold almost 10% of the state's income.
It's been very hurtful for Christmas. We couldn't spend any money. We have not been out to eat.
Montgomery says she made it a priority to bring her daughter to the protest to show her the value of speaking out.
According to reporting from USA Today, more than 24,000 federal employees have been laid off just this year in an effort by the Trump administration to reduce government spending.
While the federal government is working to reduce its size, the state could be next. Governor Patrick Morrisey announced the state would face a massive budget deficit in the coming fiscal year.
Our legislative reporter James Daly joins us now in the studio to tell us more. James?
Thanks, Jackie. Patrick, previous Governor Jim Justice says he left the state's budget in a, quote, tremendous position, end quote. But the new administration disagrees. Governor Morrisey says the state will be more than $400 million short in the coming year, unless lawmakers follow his recommendations to cut programs. Morrisey says the deficit is due to a $100 million increase in education funding and a coming $47 million increase in correctional expenses. If cuts aren't made now, Morrisey says those numbers will only continue to grow. But state lawmakers disagree. They say Morrisey has a difference of opinion when it comes to what state dollars should be spent on.
Look, there are going to be other things that we're going to have to...
Newly elected Governor Patrick Morrisey presented his budget with a $400 million hole to lawmakers during the State of the State address last month. House Minority Leader Sean Hornbuckle says he's not sure if the budget deficit is real and if he believes the current administration or the previous.
I guess this is a case of, are you team Jim Justice or are you team Patrick Morrisey, right? Right now, I'm probably a Jim Morrisey.
Members of the state legislature will decide how to spend the state's money when they vote on a budget right here on the floor. But Governor Morrisey tells lawmakers how much money they have to spend. Morrisey's office says lawmakers have $5.3 billion to spend this year. He proposes a 2% across-the-board spending cut. But Democrats are worried those cuts will hurt valuable programs.
There's a bunch of programs we have that help vulnerable people, that help children, that help foster care, child advocacy centers. There's all these things I think are very important. And so even small cuts are going to have an effect.
Republican lawmakers believe they will be able to close the deficit by making sure state funds are being spent properly.
That's always the goal, is to make sure that the dollars are being used in a responsible manner, that you squeeze out fraud, you squeeze out any kind of abuse, and you try to deliver services.
Despite the cuts, Morrisey's budget is still larger than last year. He proposes spending an additional $58 million next year.
Under Republican leadership, state lawmakers have tried to agree on a budget during their 60-day legislative session. But a balanced budget must be passed and signed by the governor by June 30th.
Thanks, James. In West Virginia, the average temperature has stayed below freezing throughout the months of January and February this year. During these colder months, more people are turning up the heat in their homes.
A reported 95% of U.S. households say they also use a form of space heating when it gets cold outside, like a natural gas fireplace or a wood-burning stove. But the U.S. Department of Energy says that space heaters cause roughly 25,000 house fires each year.
Meredith Babursky reports.
The recent winter storms have things like space heaters and fireplaces working overtime. Morgantown firefighter Tanner Dalton says there are dangers with using heating sources.
The biggest thing is people will plug a power cord into a wall, and then they'll plug a ton of things into that power cord and kind of overload it.
According to the U.S. Fire Administration, an average of 165 deaths per year are caused by heating fires.
Heating objects like these account for 27% of house fires. Make sure to keep your space heaters at least 3 feet away from flammable objects like blankets and sofas.
Heating equipment is one of the leading causes of house fires. These accidents are most common between the months of December and February.
It is a concern. It's something that we talk about with the kids. We talk about as when we purchased the space heater to make sure that we got the safest one that we could, just so there isn't just an accident.
When it comes to furnaces and fireplaces, it's important to get them inspected yearly.
I think a lot of people neglect to think that their house can catch on fire until it happens.
Visit the U.S. Fire Administration's website for more information on preventing heating fires. Meredith Bobursky, WVU News, Morgantown.
Coming up, a Morgantown nonprofit is celebrating its 40th year of serving up hot meals to members of the community.
That story and more after the break. Stay with us.
I'm Jackie Gunther, and after the break on WVU News, I'll tell you about the fastest growing market in the education industry.
Smiles are shining brighter here in West Virginia. I'm Andrew Freed, and after the break on WVU News, I'll tell you how the WVU School of Dentistry is doing its part to help the children with free dental care.
Online learning is the fastest growing market in the education industry today. It's grown by 900% since 2000.
75% of all undergraduate students in the U.S. take online classes. But more than half of colleges charge students taking remote courses more in tuition and fees than their classmates who are sitting in a classroom.
I took a closer look into the impact of online education to find out why these higher prices are worth it to so many students.
Erica Sechkar is a senior marketing major. She takes half of her classes in a traditional classroom and the other half online.
I wouldn't only want to have online learning because I like going in the classroom and interacting with teachers and students, but I do like having the ability to stay at home and just join a class.
Sechkar is just one of the 6.9 million college students taking at least one course online. Dr. Amy Morwood, a professor of literacy education at WVU, says those numbers do not come as a shock to her.
I feel like it offers a lot more flexibility. People need to have that. Again, particularly with the demographic that we work with, which are practicing teachers, you know, they're working all day long. Many of them have families, so they need some flexibility in order to attain that next professional goal.
Since the COVID-19 pandemic, 4.9 million students across the country have decided to be fully online. They say it's for flexibility, convenience, accessibility, and affordability.
Research shows that 50% of students in the state of West Virginia are exclusively enrolled in online courses.
While online learning may be convenient, studies have shown that students are more likely to excel in person rather than behind a screen. At WVU, Sechkar says she thinks that it's important to make online classes more interactive for students to learn.
I think the teachers can make the classes a little bit more interactive. I feel like oftentimes students don't really participate or turn their mic on, so I think they can try to increase the interactiveness and make it feel more like a classroom.
Sechkar says her online learning experience has led to seek a remote job after graduation.
For students in programs like marketing or business, an online program may be a good fit. But in medical-related majors, being in person allows students the chance to do more than just learn in the classroom.
Programs like WVU School of Dentistry find ways for students to get hands-on clinical experience as well. And that's just what happened, Patrick, when they participated in the American Dental Association's National Give Kids a Smile Day this month.
Andrew Freed has more.
In West Virginia, 12.5% of children saw a dentist in the past year. That's less than half the rate of children in the rest of the country. West Virginia parents say it's a struggle.
Bringing your kids to the dentist was trying. It was really trying. For me it was, maybe not for some people. And you had the cost. That's the biggest thing.
Rural communities in West Virginia report lower access to dental services and higher rates of dental problems, contributing to notable oral health disparities in the state. In West Virginia, nearly 1 in 5 third graders have untreated cavities, and nearly half have experienced tooth decay. But doctors say proper oral hygiene and annual cleanups can get you back on track. National programs like Give Kids a Smile are working to increase access to quality oral health care. They brought their free services to Morgantown this month. Dr. Branson Martin says the event is especially beneficial here in West Virginia, where many children face barriers to dental care.
So the access to care in West Virginia can be limited for children to see the dentist. We only have around 20 pediatric dentists in the state. So this is a great event to get the kids comfortable at the dentist, as well as get the dental exam, radiographs, and cleaning.
The event is important to parents like McLeod for one reason.
To keep their teeth clean and healthy, because that's the only teeth they have.
Give Kids a Smile saw more than 70 kids at this year's event. Andrew Freed, WVU News, Morgantown.
The lack of affordable health care is not the only concern that many West Virginia homes are facing. In 2023, more than 47 million people were food insecure in the U.S.
And Jackie, West Virginia is ranked number 7 on the list of hungriest states in the nation.
Madison Eli reports.
Alicia Nyman recently became the new community kitchen manager after donating for 2 years.
She says the kitchen helps those in the community be able to access a nutritious meal.
They need some help or support, right? And by delivering a meal and sharing some camaraderie with people, you know, if nothing else, that can help be a spirit boost.
The organization's mission to serve a balanced meal has not changed within its 40 years of operation. Helping those who need extra assistance is a priority for staff members.
You often hear, "Oh, thank you, honey. That's really nice. That's a great meal. We appreciate it." A guy the other day, I said, "You haven't seen you for a while." And he said, "No." He said, "I've been sick, but I'm back." He said, "You guys have the best food in town." So that's what keeps people going.
Volunteers are the main reason the kitchen stands where it is today. Without their dedication and appreciation for helping to solve food insecurity, the number of meals served every year may not be as high as it is. In the kitchen, volunteers serve balanced meals that include ham, applesauce, a roll, and green beans to about 62,000 people a year. Nyman says the organization brings a light of hope to its patrons.
In all communities, there are challenges to face, right? So it's very important that there's a beacon of hope available to people whenever they might not feel like there's anything at all.
The kitchen is open Monday through Friday from 11 to 12:15. Madison Eli, WVU News, Morgantown.
After the break, we'll look at how one head coach's success in their first season has fans hoping a national title is in their future.
Our sports team is with us after the break. Don't go anywhere.
Straight ahead on WVU News, I'm Terrell Thompson, and I'll tell you how sports betting apps on your phone affect student athletes at arenas like this one.
It has been said the sun might not always shine on West Virginia, but the people always do. And to truly appreciate our beauty, you have to look deeper at our passion, our purpose, at the fabric of who we are.
Because it's always a great day to be a Mountaineer. Wherever you may be, let's go!
Welcome back. Since Ren Baker was hired as WVU's athletic director in 2022, he has signed 6 new head coaches for the university.
Among them was men's basketball coach Darren DeVries. This is his first year at the helm, but fans are already excited about the future of the team under his leadership.
Sports anchor Terrell Thompson joins us live in the studio to tell us more about DeVries' success so far this season. Terrell?
Thanks, Patrick, Jackie. Under DeVries, the WVU men's basketball team has transformed and is climbing the ranks in the Big 12. DeVries has led WVU to defeat 4 ranked opponents so far this season. They took home a vital win against Iowa State during their game honoring Jerry West, and for the first time in program history, defeated basketball powerhouse Gonzaga during a Thanksgiving tournament. Now, WVU fans are rallying behind the team that's still working its way up the polls, but is giving them hope for the future of WVU basketball. Brian McQuillan reports.
Last season, the WVU men's basketball team finished with its lowest win total since 2002. They went 9-23. This year, new head coach Darren DeVries is giving fans hope.
I think Coach DeVries can get us a natty. He's already got us 2 4-stars coming in next year. I think the sky is the limit for Coach DeVries.
This season, DeVries made more changes to his roster than any WVU men's team since 1944. Sports commentators say it did not take long for this new crew to buy into the culture.
When I think about West Virginia basketball, I think about playing with an edge, playing with a chip on your shoulder, and I think that's what this roster construction plays like.
Under DeVries, WVU was ranked in the AP polls top 25 for the first time in 3 years.
Last March, DeVries inked a 5-year contract with West Virginia worth up to $15 million. Less than a year later, DeVries has guided the Mountaineers to 3 top 10 wins, including one inside this building.
This is the first time since 2017 that WVU men's basketball has accomplished that feat. Adam Goody-Kuntz, a Morgantown native and lifelong fan, says he's impressed with what DeVries has done so far.
They look like they've been playing together for 2 or 3 years. In reality, they've only been here since, what, June or July, which to me, I think that speaks volumes to his ability to, to mold the culture, so to say, to get guys to play together.
At Drake, he won 3 NBC conference titles and finished with 150 wins over his 6-year tenure. DeVries will look to continue his success and return to the NCAA tournament. Brian McQuillan, WVU News, Morgantown.
Many players on DeVries' roster have received recognition for their work on the court this season. But being in the spotlight can also come with risks for these college athletes, especially with the advent of gambling on college sports. In 2024, nearly $14 billion were wagered on sports in the U.S. And now college athletic programs are warning students about the potential harms of sports betting.
Sports gambling is one of the fastest growing industries in the world, and its potential risk have hit college athletic programs across the country. Dr. Maria Chikasova, who specializes in behavioral neuroscience at WVU, says that sports gambling has become more normalized over the past decade.
Yeah, so in 2018, there was a Supreme Court decision that basically struck down a federal ban on sports betting. And since then, the majority of states have legalized sports betting.
Despite its growing market and accessibility, the potential risk on student athletes have increased.
Websites like FanDuel are designed to make sports betting more accessible. And all you need is your name, social security, and address, and you're one click away from making a bet. West Virginia was the 5th state to legalize sports betting in 2018.
While participating in sports betting can lead to athletes losing their eligibility, it also comes with another threat: online harassment due to performance expectations.
Sports gambling has affected college athletics in ways that we probably didn't even expect it, like athletes, being tormented online for, maybe not making a catch or maybe making too many catches, and it affecting lines and stuff like that.
With 40% of Americans betting on sports in 2024, athletic departments are putting procedures in place to protect their student athletes.
NCAA President Charlie Baker said the organization has updated their policies on sports betting to help student athletes, and says the NCAA is focused on educating them on harm prevention techniques.
Thanks, Terrell. Well, that's going to do it for this week's edition of WVU News. I'm Jackie Gunther.
And I'm Patrick Walsh. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on WVU News.